All right, time now for our weekly visit with the Orange County Register business columnist, Jonathan Lansner. John, how are you?
Good, how are you guys?
Hey, John.
Good, good. Listen, I know you're a big sports fan, so to use a sports analogy, the Orange County economy seems to be on a bit of a losing streak.
Well, certainly. Every 3 months I look at about 36 different economic indicators, put it in my computer, come out with a magic number I call the Big Orange Index, and it's meant to be basically a temperature reading of what's going on in the county, and we've had 4 straight losing quarters, and that's the longest losing streak we've had from those recessionary times of 2001. Don't want to say that we're in a recession yet, but there are a lot of other people who sort of feel that way. So it certainly aren't happy times business-wise in this community.
Yeah, we're seeing some numbers, actually. I think you mentioned this in the paper recently that we haven't seen in 15, 16 years.
Yeah, certainly there's some things that are sharply down. I mean, we've talked enough on this show about housing that we can skip that today. I think a couple of the more interesting ones, consumer confidence is my Big Orange Index measures, which is various things from home prices to stock prices to various economic consumer confidence measures is way off, down to levels we haven't seen since 1990, and in the past 3 months we've had a steep drop. And I think everyone's feeling a little about the economy. I mean, stock market's been horrible. This Bear Stearns thing has certainly scared a lot of people, so a lot of reason for nervous there. And on another end, sort of a telling figure is that for the first time since the early 90s, we've seen our local merchants, that's store owners and restaurant owners, prune their payrolls. Everyone knows there's a new store and a new restaurant in their corner seemingly every week in Orange County, and so when you can figure out how many more stores they are, the way they're probably doing it was with less workers and less hours, and that's not a bullish sign because we know the merchants have a pretty good handle on what's going on at the cash register, and I'm sure they're reacting to tight spending by Orange Countyans.
So why are you reluctant, let's say, to jump on the bandwagon with some others and say that we're in a recession right now?
Oh, the R word's a lot like other words that sort of become politically incorrect or correct, depending which week or what your view is. Bubble was a big word a couple of years ago. I'm not sure it's important whether or not we're technically in a recession or not. There's a technical definition at the national level, at the local level. You can debate it forever. I think the important thing is if you're either managing your personal money or your business operations that are tied to the local economy, you better be careful these days because things aren't good. So if, for example, you were counting on a big raise or a big shipment or a big order or a big rush of customers that were based here in Orange County, I wouldn't count on such success, certainly through much of '08.
Yeah, and I know you talked recently with several local business owners, and they do face quite a challenge because they have rising costs to keep their business going, but the budget-conscious consumer doesn't want to spend more than he or she has to.
Yeah, no, I've talked to several people. I mean, one of the classic, conditions, look at the food business right now. Costs are through the roof. You don't need to, have a lot of global sourcing contacts to figure it out. You go to the supermarket. You think the guy making burgers or sandwiches or other food is in the same boat. So you know that their profit margins are being squeezed. They try to raise prices because you've seen it on the menu board, and then look at your mailbox and see all the coupons that come in. So they're trying to get you and try to spend more, but then you got $3 off or buy one get one free. So those are the squeezes that are really painful. In the 70s there was that horrible thing called stagflation, where we had a slow economy and lots of inflation. There's some people who are worried that may be coming back.
Right. Now, you mentioned the Big Orange Index, and that's something that you look at. I think you said every 3 or 4 months. Kind of explain. I know it's a whole series of benchmarks that you look at to compile this index, right?
Well, yeah, I've broken the economy down probably to keep my mind around it into 6 areas. There's clearly real estate for one, the merchants, the consumers always an important part. You have the bosses, which is largely a proxy for things like business services, which is huge here in manufacturing. You have the service providers, and you have the bankers. And I sort of track movements within each one of them and add it up and get a final number. Sometimes, as we saw not so long ago, the real estate economy was taking this town higher. These days, the last reading, 5 out of those 6 indicators were down. The only one was up was the service economy, which also includes tourism, which is probably still the hottest thing in this town. But, recent news about the tourism business, things are slowing down there too. So it's certainly one of those times you gulp and hope the worst is not going to come.
You know, Jonathan, I've bumped into you a few times at the Honda Center for Mighty Ducks hockey games, and I'd be curious to know if fans will continue to pay the exorbitant cost of ticket prices if they don't have a team that, you know, isn't contending for the cup.
You know, I mean, I think probably the most interesting economic indicator, one I don't track, was, you know, last year, you know, the Angels sold out most of their games, and I believe in 2007 the Ducks sold out every one of their games. Certainly that would belie the fact of a soft economy. I think it spoke to two championship quality teams, because in many towns, particularly this one, everyone loves a winner. But, you know, clearly I think you're going to see that the entertainment dollar is going to be very hard pressed in a tight economy, because, you know, when you don't have to go to a Ducks game, you don't have to go to an Angel game, you don't have to go to the movies if you're having a tough time either paying the mortgage or putting food on the table.
Good point. Good point. John, as always, we appreciate the time. Thank you.
All righty. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks a lot, John.